In good evening, dear viewer. We are here. I am back with another review. This time we are going towards one of the more interesting British horror movies. That along with Blood on Satan's Claw and The Wicker Man makes up folk horror. And in this case, it is Witchfinder General from 1964 or whatever, 1968 by Orion Pictures Corporation, also known as The Conqueror Worm. Here, Vincent Price plays just an outright evil man. He is portraying just one who is going around trying to get people who supposedly made deals with Satan. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Whether what comes around anyway. Yeah, this is just fantastic. He is just not even just like deliciously over the top. He's just a pure bastard. He's got his cronies that handle all the people getting to confess by like stabbing them and slapping them. I mean, this movie is not pretty. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Where at least with The Wicker Man, there was a sense of humor about it, especially with wanting to bang the bartender's daughter. But this one, just how sadistic with the executions and everything. It's like this man. It's just because you got the royalists on one side who are trying to take down the current regime, and you have the people who are doing what they claim is God's work, and it's just, I don't know. It's just so delightful. It's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not particularly disturbed by it because compared to, say, stuff that would come out later with Friday the 13th and everything, this and Nightmare on Elm Street, this is just, I don't know. It just feels, because this actually happened in real life, it just left me a little uneasy, Just the fact that there just, people were accusing of witchcraft and everything else. It's just, I don't know. But at the same time, just the performances, that Vincent Price does, where he proclaims that this is his personal favorite, and I can 100% see why. Because he's just so commanding on stage with the bows and the cape, and just everything else. It's just like you gotta pay attention. You just pay attention to it. Old Gilvey as Richard Marshall's the one who's trying to take down, trying to take him down as a revenge because his priest friend and his wife is going to get taken down as well. It's just and Rupert Davies plays a truly unhinged, like, second in command. He's just sadistic, and it's just like, I don't know. Hilary Dwyer as Sarah Lowe's is just so. It's just disturbing to think about and look at, and you're just like, I don't know, just like you can tell with the great costume, like you can look right here with the great costumes. This is not a Roger Corman flick. This is a Michael Reeves flick. Yeah. Some of the more standout scenes are definitely when the executions happen. How there's this one woman who's atop who they think that she's going to confess. The whole townspeople are watching. They think that she's a witch. They've got her strapped to the top of them. They slowly lower her, and there's some fire. It's just, ooh. Of course, that was like a dummy or whatever it was, but it was just, you think that this stuff actually happened. And of course, with the clothes that Matthew Hopkins would be dressed in, it's just like there's a sense of regality about him, but he's especially cruel. So I don't know, man. It's just like, we also get to see him have his way with some wenches, and it's implied that he's having sex, and it's just so, ooh, yeah. Of course, there's the where Richard Marshall is trying to capture him, and they're out in these fields. I think it's the fields and just the openness of everything. It's like it sets out the houses and stuff like that, but with the color, camera filter, and stuff like that. It just feels so menacing. You know, in 86 minutes, it feels like everything. It feels epic. Feels like a great epic movie that's adapted from a book by some guy named John Terethian or something like that, who was supposedly related to the director, the movie director. But yeah, just there's some blood. There's some great sets that just are dark and dingy. You feel a little claustrophobic. I mean, this is yeah. It's like there's that. There's the horses, which are great. All the comrades and everything. It's just so I don't know. But it's just I don't know the way how it's just everything's just so rough. You just pay attention to it because this is like real folk horror, and it's just so ooh, yeah. But like you get some blood, you get some weapons. This is a bloody movie, which I was surprised by. But then again, this is '68, kind of leading up as more of a classy non-slasher, and that's not an oxymoron. So, as for the trivia, we got to do this. It's like I don't know. It's just before we get to that, it's yeah. I also do want to say it's like um yeah, Prince Vincent Price, excuse me, grew grew a beard and probably grew his hair for it, and it's so different. And he says that this is his favorite performance, and I can 100% see why. There's no sugarcoating anything. It's just real stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just real. Where's that? Witchfinder General is so highly regarded now by fans and critics alike that it's hard to say anything against it and simply discuss it as a masterpiece, which I personally do not think it is. While I admire Vincent Price for doing a tough shoot with a young director, Michael Reeves, with less than 4 films to his credit, to whom Vincent would refer to as that goddamn boy genius, I think one needs to step back and realize this is a historical drama, not a horror film. Having said that, it contains one of Price's most restrained performances, making one ponder just what kind of film the lackluster oblong box might have been underneath his direction. The real horror behind Witchfinder General is that the real Matthew Hopkins died in his bed than a more gruesome demise as he may have truly deserved. The film, shot on location in Suffolk, is quite beautiful, filling the screen with an autumn light that creates a countryside in which evil can find its way in a simple folk that lived there. So, I first met Price after he just finished making this film. He told me at the time, I just did this film in England, which is the place to make this kind of picture in the first place because they do it all so well. I just work with an exciting young talent who I believe is really going places as a director. His name is Michael Reeves. I am looking forward to working with this young man again very soon. Nothing in this conversation could have prepared one for the next 3 decades of speculation what really happened on the set between Price and Reeves. A few years later, we finally sit down on the camera and discuss this film for what would be the last time. However, by then, Witchfinder General will be passing the legend of Vincent right along with it. So, I think it was like different acting styles with how Price was used to be so theatrically based and already having 80 different movies kind of clashed with who is this boy director, who had a different vision, but they argued on set, but ultimately they would begrudgingly respect each other because of the direction that was going on and Price's performance. They both respected him, like, okay, that was pretty gosh darn good. So yeah, it's like this movie is more of an exploration in the unconscious psyche of the perversions that go on and everything that's going on politically, which we do get enough of. We can understand with the narration in the beginning to set the tone, but I would have liked to seen myself a more horror based rather than just we do get the drama, but I think maybe if it leaned more into one side extreme more than just them trying to come together, I think that this film would have been truly freaking phenomenal, which, I mean, it still is, don't get me wrong, but I do have to agree, it could have been leaned more into the horror side. This was shot in the British to help get some, like, funding and stuff like that, and this is kind of funny. There was required union breaks that I think was at either Price or Michael Reeves had a problem with, because so they could have unionized tea breaks, which I find to be kind of funny. And there was one time a catering truck or something didn't arrive, and Vincent Price, and this surprised me, actually went to a village or something like that nearby, and actually managed to get food for 60 different people, just to show how much of a gentleman that he truly was. And of course, I'm wondering who was Matthew Hopkins. Well, he was a witchfinder then who was in East Angora or something like that, some county or whatever in Europe. Out of all the 1,500 witch trials that happened, he was famous for roughly a third of them, 500 of them. That's why he was called the Witchfinder General. Yeah, it was like 30 when he died, for whatever. I don't know. Well, anyway, just outside of maybe the direction of it just being a little odd, which is try to balance the two, I really do think that the Witchfinder General, also the name of a great heavy metal band, check them out. But this is really a freaking great, epic, heavy movie.